Hello guys, my name is Adrian Morrow, and today I'm doing another World of Tanks Blitz video. And today I'm going to be doing a garage review and an in-game review of the Object 704. This is the Tier 9 Russian tank destroyer. So let's start off with things you need to know about this tank. This is a very good Tier 9 tank destroyer. And it carries the BL-10, which you previously had on the ISU-152 if you researched it correctly. And some things you need to know about it. It has, in my opinion, very, very good armor. The mantlet is super troll. Their armor angles on the sides are ridiculous. Their armor, I think the auto bounces actually. And about 50% of the fun of the tank is just no hit zones. You hit it and you'll bounce. And if you angle this tank correctly, you can get a lot of people to bounce, and it's quite troll. BL-10, obviously 640 damage. The reload is quite good on this tank. Considering how much damage it does, people really underestimate the reload, and that's a good thing. And people in general underestimate this tank. They believe that the T-95 is going to be the worst enemy because slow but super freaking armored, and the gun that does 640 damage, same as you. But it shoots slower, so there's that. So they really underestimate you, and you can use that to your advantage in an Object 704. Let's take a look at the stats. Hit points, 1500. This is a very, very good amount for a tank destroyer. Most of the stock heavy tanks have 1500 hit points, around that area. So if you went into a stock heavy tank, Tier 9 heavy tank that is stock, you can just trade damage with him and you'll win. Because no Tier 9 heavy tank has 640 alpha damage. If you take a look at the whole armor, 120 on the front. Now that doesn't seem that good, but this is very, very well sloped. So, yes, there's that. And the gun depression isn't half bad either. So the sloping gets a lot more. And I'll show you the sloping in armor viewer later. Sides, they're okay at 90, but there was like not a flat surface on this tank except for the roof, and since there's no artillery, that's not a problem. But sides at 90, pretty crap. The tracks are quite troll because that little line right there is just spaced armor. A lot of spaced armor. Tracks spaced armor too. The rear, that's where it gets crap. It's just 60 millimeters. That's a glaring weak point of the Object 704. Let's go to maneuverability. Now, this tank, I found to be the maneuverability to be straight line quite good, actually. This thing can it can shift when it needs to, and going downhill, it's a beauty. It weighs 50 tons and has a 700 horsepower engine. Now, horsepower per ton isn't amazing, but it's still pretty good, and it can still move around the map. Definitely better than a Jagdtiger in a straight line, and definitely better than a T-95. I believe it can also go faster than a T-30. Traverse speed is the worst, unless you're turning on concrete. If you're turning on concrete, this tank will go faster than the Jagdtiger, but on any other ground, it's gonna go slower than the Jagdtiger. That's the one flaw that I found with the Object 704. So, yeah, if you get flanked, just be careful. Although it's only 1 degree extra, I do find it to feel a lot faster than the ISU-152 when it's turning. If we go to the shell damage, the maximum amount of damage the BL-10 can do with 1 AP shell is 800 damage. Now that's quite good. I don't really like these stats, so I'm going to go into this stat, which I trust more. rate of fire, 4.28, so a lot of people really misjudge this tank's reload. It is under 15 seconds, and with the rammer, it goes, I believe, to about 13. The penetration is amazing at 286 millimeters. You have no problem going through tier 10 tanks. Heavy tanks like the Mouse or the E100, or sometimes the T125, you may have to aim for weak spots, but with the upgraded accuracy from the ISU 152, it shouldn't be too hard. The high explosive does have a quite good 90 millimeters of penetration, so if you run into tanks like the Leopard 1, load up some HE and take off 960 hit points if you penetrate. Obviously, standard AP shells and APCR do 640 damage, very respectable. And dispersion is actually quite good for a tank that has a gun this big, and moves this fast, and has so many pros, 0.39. It can still troll you like it does on the ISC 152, but it doesn't happen as much. Aim time is 2.9, which is a full half second better than the ISU 152, so that is very good. Weighted gun does not matter. Ammunition, if you're finding you have problems with the tier 10 heavy tanks, you can take off 5 high explosive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And load up on 5 APCR, and that should be more than enough. But I found that I don't really need APCR in this tank, so 20 standard armor-piercing shells and 10 high explosive shells. The APCR in this tank is quite good. It has, let me check, but APCR flies super fast on this tank. And it has 329 millimeters of penetration. So if you're running into tier 10 heavy tanks, it's always an option. For consumables, I run the standard repair kit, first aid kit, and manual fire extinguisher. If you want to go like stat padding mode in this tank, I recommend small repair kit just for emergencies, like if you get tracked or something. Extra combat rations, and the big pack. I don't really care for adrenaline too much. I haven't found it to be too useful. But in any case, that's like my stat padding setup. And my cheap setup is just the standard repair kit, first aid kit, fire extinguisher. This can punish you if you have to use your fire extinguisher and you get set on fire later. If you have to repair your tracks and then your engine goes out. If a crew member dies, you heal him, and then another crew member dies, you aren't really that flexible. But the way you should be playing this tank, you shouldn't get spotted anyways, so that's where I think. For equipment, I haven't gathered up all the funds to do it because I accidentally sold some the other day because I wanted to buy back the T29, but nothing I can do about that now. For equipment, you're gonna want large caliber tank gun rammer, obviously. Enhanced gun lane drive, obviously. And I wouldn't go for camouflage net. In tier 9 battles, since you have a very large health pool, I play very, very aggressive in this tank. I play kind of like how I played the T18, I guess. Go right up in their face, shoot them, pop around corners, shoot them, set up ambush spots, things like that. And that's what I excel at in Tier 9 games. In Tier 10 games, which aren't that hard for the ISU, the Object 704, I play more heavy-duty sniper, so there's that. And I find that in Tier 9 games, I have no need for the camouflage net. And the improvements helps camouflage too. I also have a quite good camouflage skill anyways, but it's not on this tank yet. My camouflage is at level 4. So there's that, and that's why I don't run a camouflage net on this tank. So let's take a look at this in Armor Inspector. Let it load up. Tier 9 Russian tank destroyer. Put it to Blitz. Okay. The Object 704. And here it is. And the gun I'm going to use against it, we'll have IS-8, because the IS-8 has a quite good gun. Okay. So head on, this is the Object 704 from the IS-8 point of view. As you can see, everywhere in the mantlet, bounce. Except for right if it goes through the gun, which is highly unlikely. If you back out a little bit, those are just auto bounces, basically. And there's also this thing I can show you. Make a gun go down, and that increases your effective armor thickness a lot. What you can do also is angle your tank like that. So if they auto-aim into your tank, it's more than likely just going to slam straight into the mantlet, and that's going to be a bad day for them. If we go down to this side is like even better, because that side is still an auto bounce. That side is just ridiculous, and auto-aims right smack into the turret, or into the mantlet. Correction. This tank does have quite good gun traverse, and go 11 degrees each side, or a total of 22 degrees. And that's quite good. High explosive, there's no chance of a high explosive shell going into you, unlike the ISU, which you can't get a high explosive shell in the back. The only way you can get a high explosive shell to go in this is probably from the top of the tank, and that's not really going to happen in Blitz. So there's all you need to know about the armor of the Object 704. So let's take a look at some gameplay. So here we are in a tier 9 matchup, quite good for the Object 704, and this is quite good matchmaking. We're here on Rockfield, and let's get right into the battle. On Rockfield, what I like to do in the Object is I like to go up on that hill over there. And that panther said, "No, Migusa, I don't like the matchmaking." But regardless, we're gonna go up this hill. It looks like we have a Tiger, an IS-8, and I believe another tank that's not on the screen right now. But regardless, we have a pretty decent force coming up here. The other team was quite aggressive in this match, and it turned out to be their doom. So as you can see, the speed of the object, it's not super fast, but it's certainly not slow. I thought about coming around that corner where the T-20 was to engage that E-50, but I decided to go to my favorite bush on this map, or at least on this side, and come up here and see what I can shoot. I go in the bush, try to get spots on the T-54, see the Panther, but don't have shots on him. And thanks to all these bushes, it makes my phone a little laggy. Since I do play on an iPhone 5, I used to have an iPhone 5S, but it like broke and just bleh. So by pulling up out of the bush, the E-50 spotted me, but no one can really get effective fire on me. I think the E-50 at this point kind of forgot where I was, because you can see it starts backing up, and he used the excellent aim time to put a nice shot into him and leave him on super low health. That T-54 becomes a problem later in the match, as you'll see. So I see that the enemy team kind of abandoned this flank, and now they're going down here. And that's going to be a problem because they can very easily flank us. So I try to get shots on the Louver, but he gets in the cover. None on the Patton. I see this Yag Tiger, and I know he hasn't spotted me. And the gun depression on this tank just wasn't low enough. I wasn't comfortable taking a shot at the side. But thankful for me, he backed up and I got to put a nice shot into him. So now I'm focusing on this T-54 that's coming up, and he's flanking. And he can put a very good hurt on me. I'm worried about him coming, and I just totally donked the shot there. And I was really worried about that Yak Tiger putting shots into me because I was not aware of where he was on the map. But if you look at this reload, you can see we're reloaded in no time. And I donked that shot so bad right there. And finally I get hit. And I don't know from who, but it was not for that much damage. Could have been the Panther, but I'm not sure. I wasn't comfortable taking a shot there. And I'm pretty sure if I would have shot there, he would have came around and flanked me and shoot me. I'm checking my back real quick. And you can see I get a lucky shot there right smack into his turret. And then he put a nice hit into me, I believe beside the gun mantlet. So he decides to run. And he does not underestimate this tank. I was wondering if I can get a snapshot on him, but I decided not to chase him, and that turns out to be the right decision. Because if I would have chased him, those other tanks over there would have had quite effective fire on me, and that would have been no good. So now I'm just waiting here, see if I can get shots on anyone. T-54 is behind that big hill, so I can't shoot him. I decide to rush down this line, and the IS-8 kills the Patton, which is very beneficial for me because I don't think I could have defeated him alone. And this is where that T-54 just tunnel visions very hard. So he kills the IS-6, I believe? IS-8. And that was kind of important because now that means if I win, this is a Kolobanov medal. And that Panther's coming, he's coming, I'm worried about him, can he flank, can he flank, can he flank? And I put a snapshot into him, right into the side of his tank. And then, look at him in chat. And, yep, he threw the game, according to him. He is apologizing to his team. And at this point, I'm thinking the Tiger must be camping up here. Must be, he has to be. And then, oh crap, spotted right behind me. But thanks to my very excellent health pool, I'm able to come around and put a nice snapshot right into the front of his tank. And that's the end of that match. So that was the Kolobanov's medal and the Object 704 Tier 9 Russian Tank Destroyer. So let's just have a quick look at the post-game stats. I made about 40,000 credits there, 3,252 damage. I got the Kolobanov's medal, obviously, and Mastery 3rd class. So yeah, that's that. And that'll be it for today. So thank you for watching. See ya.